What's up, guys? This is Quin. I'm a Forbes accredited marketer and global keynote speaker, and this is the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. We are a self-development and entrepreneurship community for go-getters to organize their life and business. Get ready to gain knowledge from top-level entrepreneurs and world-class business leaders and be one step closer to becoming the ultimate entrepreneur. Before we start this episode, how would you feel if I told you that you could change your whole business process around with just $20? Keep on listening to the episode to find out how. What is up, guys? This is Quin, and you're listening to the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Today, we have Robby Alonso, great buddy of mine, and I've been really looking forward to having him on the podcast. What's up, Robby?
How's it going, bro? Thank you for having me on here today.
Hey, man, we've been planning to do this for a minute now. I know you're really busy, and I know we've been all over the place, but I'm glad we finally got to be here. A lot of the listeners are going to be able to benefit a lot from what you have to say. So let's get started, man. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what you're up to right now?
All right. Well, I'm the owner of the Franchise Tag, which is a clothing brand, also mixed with a agency that I'm aiming for. Basically, I started this brand 3 years ago. It was something that I was kind of up in the air with. I just knew I wanted to assist people, but I also wanted to have merchandise and different things out there on different type of artists and different type of celebrities and different type of influencers. So I started off by just creating merch and basically just seeing where I could go with it, seeing the response that I would get from people. So I started off real small, just created something that I thought was cool. I created a hat. In less than a week, that hat became a staple piece of mine, which is the reason I'm at where I am today. I'm also working in the music industry. So my brand and the things that I've created have opened many doors and avenues for me thus far. Now, I remember us speaking before, and you were actually, before you did all of this, you were a teacher, correct? Yeah, I was actually a high school teacher. I was teaching high school at Coconut Creek High, biology and Spanish too. Okay, great. And tell me, how did that change come about? How did you go from saying, all right, I'm a teacher right now, I'm a high school teacher, I'm going to start my own brand, or I'm going to get in the entertainment industry? Why don't you talk a little bit about that shift? So basically, I got out of college and I was trying to find like my little niche or what I was going to do or how I was going to apply my degree. I always knew that I wanted to help people. So I come from a background where my father was a teacher after he played baseball. So I was like, let me get into the school system and help as much as I possibly can. It started off real small. Like it was just something, honestly, to get money. I had to find a way to make money, and I knew the schedule and how everything would be as a teacher would be very beneficial for me and what I was trying to accomplish. So I settled in, and I actually got really comfortable with it because I started to enjoy it, and I started to be able to help the kids, especially high school kids who were going off into the world where I had a lot of people giving me great information, but they weren't teaching me the things that I was able to offer them at this point in time in their life. So I felt that it was great for both of us, me and the students that I was teaching at the high school. So I was able just basically to it was like trial and error with my brand and just teaching it to them. And then one day, I created something and it kind of took off. It actually did take off. And I had to make a decision. Was I going to continue to teach or was I not? So I had to put that on hold, actually. I taught for 4 years, but it's with something that taught me everything I know today and why I am where I'm at. It's so funny you say that because last night I was at an event in Miami and an old student of mine was at the event. And he was one of my favorite students. He's actually somebody I kind of keep in touch with still to this day. He does music now. And he looked at me and he thanked me for everything I instilled in them and everything I said. He was like, look at all the kids that are in your class and what they're doing. And I didn't really settle in to think about it. But then when he said it, I was like, wow, that's crazy. 3 of the kids, including him, I have 2 other students that are now like big time YouTubers who I talk to on a daily. And it's just crazy to see these kids who I was just kind of taking these risks in my life and everything that was positive or all the lessons that I learned, I was just teaching them and sharing what I was going through with them. And they were able to have a blueprint. And now I got 2 kids that have over 1 million subscribers on YouTube. They just graduated high school, seeing that student last night
So it's just a great shift that I took, like being able to assist in the school. And now I just took all I learned with what I grew up knowing and applied in what I'm doing now with my brand. And now I'm assisting different artists and different people in many different avenues.
Now, how I'm guessing that change from school to being a business owner was a rough change at the beginning.
Yeah, it was real rough because like being a teacher, you don't know you don't know how to do it really until you start, but then you know how to do it because you learned it your whole life because you were in school. So you kind of like mimic what you were being taught. So it was like I had a blueprint of how to be a teacher. But like there was no blueprint of how to be a business owner for me, really. It was kind of like I made something, I saw that it could sell. I was like, okay, then now I'm taking my hustling mentality and I got to like mix it with business and learn a little bit of things. I took some books that I had when I was in college, some of the business courses I did take, and I started like rereading them and just learning, how to brand yourself and how to brand items and how to, separate your branding from your actual brand. And just different things that I just was so unaware of. And it's awesome to be in this situation because you learn all these things just by going through it. And in the last 4 years, it's been great to learn the business and still be growing and learning the business because it's never going to stop because it's always evolving. But yeah, it was very rough transitioning from like consistent income, knowing that this is what it's a security I had a security blanket. And then transitioning, I lost that blanket and I had to create it for myself. So it was,
you had to go out and create a check.
It was good.
Now, you started the clothing business as soon as you left the school, right?
As soon as I was in the school, I started the clothing business. So I started it, cool. And I was kind of like, just testing it out, doing my own thing. Like after school, I would take the money I would make and I would buy little things and little pieces and try to create on it, T-shirts. And then once I started like gaining a grasp for how that worked and how that industry worked, the manufacturing industry, then I actually reached out and started meeting with manufacturers and creating my own team of manufacturers who are the ones who create everything in-house right now with my brand.
Now, when is the first time that you noticed that the brand was getting a lot of attention? Like you had, a few products out, was there a big influencer, a big celebrity, anybody big that really put you on the map from a branding and brand awareness perspective? It's
crazy because so the first item I made was a suede broken heart hat. It's like I put like so much emotion into this hat. It was weird because that was the first thing I created, but I just created it from an emotional place. And I always thought it wasn't cool to wear hats that were not like of professional teams. Like if you wore anything that wasn't like a professional team hat, I didn't think it was cool. So it was something that was out of my comfort zone to make. I made it and I literally took a picture on Instagram. At this point, there was no talks or thought of having a brand. Like I had no name. I just took a hat. I created something. I took a picture. I was nobody with nothing. And when I took the picture, the amount of feedback I got was insane. Like the picture blew up. People were hitting me up, asking me what type of brand, what's this? And I didn't know what to say. And even it's crazy because within a week span, I had got a calendar and wrote out everything I wanted to accomplish. And I accomplished everything that week. And most people you said I was small. I want to sell 5 orders. I want to do this. No, my goals the first week were like crazy goals. Like I want to sell 20 hats or 24 hats. I want to have store locations. I want to have so-and-so wearing it. I want to meet so-and-so based off this. And it all clicked. Fortunately, for me, it was the right place, right time, right situation. There was an epidemic of people starting brands off hats, and it was very big, especially down here in South Florida. And I feel like I didn't catch the wave. And I'm not saying this and no, disrespect to anyone. I feel that I didn't catch the wave. I feel that my brand was the wave, and I was able to be on something, God-given to be on something on a path earlier before, everybody else was. And that's what saved me. I was able, the first 2 days, there was a famous artist that I looked up to and somebody who I wanted to meet for a few years, and I couldn't purchase his stuff because when I was teaching, I wasn't going to purchase, $600 sneakers. I just wasn't going to live that way. And so happened to be that as soon as I dropped the hat, that artist contacts me. It was crazy. Invited me to a house in Miami, and we spoke and just told me how, and I went from being a fan of somebody to having this access of like, wow, like, whoa, this is what it really looks like from this side, and this person's like somebody who I wanted to really, to learn from in a sense. Probably keep that person anonymous, but other than that,
I know who you're talking about.
That's how it started. It started it was probably the second day I made the hat. The third day, it got real. I had a Brazilian pop star named Ludmilla. She's like the Beyonce of Brazil. Like I'm talking about, I can't even tell you. You can't even quote me on this, but I'm talking about hundreds of millions of views, and she's that vibe. And from that point on, I gave somebody close to her a box of hats. Somebody who I met who also has a very big following. Somebody who was a good friend of mine. His name's Double X. Double X, I gave him a box of hats in meetings, and he told me, I support your brand. I think it's awesome. I believe that it could be on certain people. I know that I could help, but he never asked me for anything. I gave him, at the end of the meeting, I gave him a box of hats just to see what would come about it. Like probably 15, 20 hats. He told me that Ludmilla would be in town, that he would get her a hat, that they were going to the Rihanna concert. And he told me all these things, and I didn't buy into it because I really didn't care for it. I was just trying to see, just somebody else wearing my hat. He could have wore it, and I was fine with it. And everything he said, he stood by it. And Ludmilla wore the hat, and 2 months later, my hat's Rihanna's wearing my hat in a Cosmo magazine. And then from that point on, it went from her to Dave East, and then from Dave East to Joel Santana, from Joel Santana to Smoke DZA, and from Smoke DZA to Ace Hood, and from Ace Hood, the list it's crazy how it's opened up. I'm very fortunate and blessed and grateful for everybody who's purchased and supported and gotten it to where it's at. Even Jasmine Sanders, Vogue supermodels, just the variety of people is crazy. I'm not targeting one specific audience. I want everyone to wear the brand and everyone to appreciate it and everyone to like it. That's what I'm going for with it.
I want to know about a time in your life when things were difficult and it was hard to transition, but everything turned out for the better. Share your story with me by going to my Instagram, Alex Quin with one N, and press the contact button on the profile to either DM me or text me. So let's go.
The power of relationships has been very, very important in not only your career, but in the growth of the franchise tag, because all of these great relationships you've maintained and nurtured have allowed you to pretty much expand the brand in ways you would have never imagined. Like if somebody would have told you when you were at the school that Rihanna was going to be rocking a hat that you designed, it probably would have sounded a little bit crazy. Well, you actually made it happen because you took the risk and you obviously nurtured the relationships you had, which allowed you to get there. Now, obviously not just with that. Obviously, there's a lot of hard work, creation, design behind that, but it all just comes together correctly when you go about business the right way.
Yeah, facts. The relationships, man. The relationships are key. Relationships are the reason why we're on this podcast together. Relationships are the reason why, we know a lot of the same people without knowing that we know a lot of the same people. It's weird how this works. Like good people know good people. And we're in an industry where even as a late, even me and you, we stumble upon people and we're like, wow, I didn't know you knew him. And, vice versa. And we're like, oh, okay, but it all makes sense because, when you start pushing this envelope of being this creative and really, seeing this shift that you could have an effect on with not just yourself, but a bunch of other creatives, is great, I never thought that Rihanna was going to wear my hat, and I never thought that, but I took a chance and I was shifting, everything around me as a creative, and I met another creative and another person who was shifting the culture as well. And they gave it to another person who was doing the same thing, and it just keeps trickling down. And everybody who seemed, it's like we could all be in the same room. We would all hang out together, you know? It's like you kind of understand it through that. Like, and that's how it is with this. You know, you make something and you build a relationship, and that relationship lasts longer than the item that, you know, that person might have bought, or the person might have wore, or the person might have told you they liked. That relationship's a lifetime. So you got to value those things.
Let's take a quick break. I want to tell you about a new way I run my business. So did you know that I was able to increase my workload and close more leads by automating my client onboarding operation over the last few months? I removed the friction points in my communication process so clients are able to approve, sign, and pay all in one go. This was all thanks to HoneyBook. HoneyBook is a client management software that helps businesses like yours manage and automate projects. Now, from the moment your clients are ready to say yes, they'll automatically receive the proposal, contract, and payment all in one email. So you're able to focus on getting more clients, less friction, and more deals. Thanks to HoneyBook, all Hustle Inspires Hustle listeners get 50% off when you go to honeybook.com and use promo code ALEX, ALEX. Now, let's jump back into the episode.
Yeah, for sure. That's a fact. Now, you started the brand started doing well, and then you got involved in working with Ace Hood.
Yeah. So I actually grew up, I went to high school in Deerfield Beach, same place Ace Hood grew up. Our family are very good friends. He actually 2 years older than me. We've been friends since high school. I've been working with him every day for a year now. I've been a part of his brand for the last 2.5 years. Basically when I started my brand, you know, you want to target like people, you know, people of status, you know, people with something going, people with a movement that you support. And, you know, you create this list of people that you envision that would, you know, that you would want to see in your stuff, or that you would love to work with or be in the same building with. And he was one of those people, especially because I knew him, I had a relationship with him, but also because of how great of a person and artist he is. So I always would set out to like try to like somehow, you know, like wonder how I could see him at an event, or somehow, you know, just to talk briefly, you know, just to link up. And you know, time would pass, probably about like 2 years into the brand passed, and I had never like came in contact with him. And then one day I went out with the artist that put me in the situation I'm in, you know, that helped me. We went out in Miami, and I saw Ace out, and I walked up to him, and it was like no time had passed. It was like the way we were when we were in high school. We got to talking. We got to explaining what we're doing, like real quick, very, you know, business in the middle of a club, real quick. Talk some business, exchange numbers. We were out. A week later, I was already creating stuff for his brand, you know, just to show him what I could do, but also to, you know, to support the movement, because I've always supported it. So you want to be, you know, it was a team. And I was just creating things for them. They were all wearing it. And that right there led from one thing to another. And I started this past year, you know, I would style him for music videos, for award shows. I would also style him for everything, honestly, from all types of business ventures. You know, right-hand man, travel. I handle all his travel. We did a tour, a 2.5, 3 month tour. Went to different places like Dubai, you know, and it all started because of a relationship in my brand. And as much as I support his brand, he supports the franchise tag wholeheartedly. Like,
he definitely does. I've seen him support you so much.
Yeah, he tells me how much he really supports it, and that's why I'm able to work with my brand and also work with his brand.
That's crazy. So you guys linked up at a club, and you already knew what was up. You were going to waste that opportunity. You caught a good vibe. You saw you guys are on the same page, and you said, you know what? Let me talk to Ace. Let's see what vibe we could catch, and let's see what business we could do. And sooner rather than later, you were out traveling the world with him. But of course, you brought value up front, which is something that I always talk about on the podcast. Like, you showed that you could bring something to the table. You showed that you have a pre-established business or something that you could actually do for them or for yourself that could benefit everybody as a whole. And like I said, before you knew it, you're traveling the world with him and actually conducting business for him, which is great, man. A lot of people would have been afraid to walk up to Ace at the club. You know, despite the fact that you guys are in a previous relationship, some people are very insecure about the things that they want to do. And that insecurity keeps a lot of people back from progressing and doing the things that they want to do.
Yeah, facts, man. And then I understand it. You know, at first I didn't understand why people like are so hesitant or so afraid, but everyone has their reasons, and I've learned to respect it. And I support it either way. If I agree with it or not, I support what people feel is best for them. What I will say is, if you want to be successful, you need to be as uncomfortable as possible, as often as possible, and you will be successful, especially at the beginning stages. Like the things you don't want to do, the things that you feel that are embarrassed or whatever, the insecurities that we have as people that we all fight through, we all battle through. Once you take how uncomfortable those situations are and you start working through them, you can create the space to create great things, you know, with great people, and that shines light and that shows, and other people see it and other people feel it. And next thing you know, those same people have that same feeling, and, you know, you're creating amongst the team, you know, more than 3, 4, more, you know, 5, 10 people. And it's of value because those people, you know, they want to create something as well. And, you know, that's the advice I could give to people is to, like, you know, when you're uncomfortable, create, because creating when you're uncomfortable, I feel like you're going to have like the best work.
Yeah, man, because that's when you're really discovering yourself. Like, hey, I could actually do this shit. Like, I'm uncomfortable, but if I'm uncomfortable, obviously means I'm outside of my comfort zone. And if I'm feeling uncomfortable and I'm outside of my comfort zone, then that's the best place for growth, because you're actually growing past your insecurities.
I was so uncomfortable when I was like, I'm about to be a teacher. I was so uncomfortable. And I was uncomfortable with this battle with myself because nobody around me was judging me, although limited people knew. People didn't really know what I was doing, you know? And at that point in time, social media wasn't very big for me, or it wasn't something that I was on like that. So, you know, it was just like I was living my life. And still to this day, not that many people know. Like, this podcast right here is going to tell people things that they don't know. And it's the fact that I was so uncomfortable being like, damn, I'm going to be a teacher. You know, I was very uncomfortable with it, but I wasn't uncomfortable with the fact that I had great benefits. I was helping people and my income was good for somebody who just got out of college. Like, I wasn't uncomfortable with that, you know? So you had to be, you know, you got to be uncomfortable for the things that you know, for the things that you value, that you need, that you want, that can help you. And I was so uncomfortable. And then I was uncomfortable again when I stopped teaching and I wanted to start a brand. I was uncomfortable then. And I was uncomfortable after I made my first 100 sales, you know, like it's the greatest times of my life. I've been uncomfortable. I made, you know, 100 sales. I was uncomfortable because I was like, how do I make 200? That's just really it.
How, when you did that switch from teacher, I mean, obviously you started the brand, the ideas, but when you made that full switch, how was your support system? What were people around you telling you, like, hey, you know, you're going from a teacher to starting a streetwear brand, fashion brand? Like, how was people's reactions and responses to that big change in your life?
People were casting their insecurities on me. Everyone. There was a very limited, selected handful of people that I respect, admire, and value to this day. And I do not take anything away from those people that were casting their insecurities. I feel like them casting their insecurities made them uncomfortable, and them being uncomfortable was, you know, it also is a reason why this has all come to light. And their insecurities made me uncomfortable. And it's the reason why I went so hard to make this all happen. You know, people were just like, how are you going to go from making this secure? People were more worried about my security blanket of an income and how I was going to go from, you know, making, you know, a little bit of cash. Like, I wasn't making $100,000 as a teacher. I was making like, you know, like, I don't know, 40,000, 30,000, I don't know, something like that, you know, but I was fine. Like, I was more than fine. I was really happy. You know, it wasn't even about the money. Like before that, I had worked at a job trying to sell insurance, and I was making triple, double, triple, and I was miserable. So when I went from teaching and I told my friends or people around me and my friends that I was going to do this, everyone was just like, their insecurities, they would cast on me because they were like, oh, how are you going to do it? Like, it's not going to work, and I would be like, wow. And then I really wouldn't get mad at them or mad at anybody. I would just kind of sit with it, and then I would reevaluate my situation and everybody around me. And I would just see how, I don't take away from the people around me, the people I come in touch with. I don't take nothing away from them. Everyone, you're allowed to do whatever you feel is right for you. And I would just see how those people were so stagnant. I was always constantly evolving. Okay, I taught for this amount of years. I saved this amount of money. I did this. I accomplished this. Now I took these relationships and I went into this. I'm constantly growing into different things because I want to do it all. I don't just want to work a 9 to 5, and I don't take that away from anybody. I respect the 9 to 5, but I don't want to work the same job for 60 years and do the same thing. That's just me, So like a lot of people would just cast their insecurities, and I never took nothing against them. I kind of just learned how to move through people, like how people feel and put this smile on and, shake my head and kind of be like, yeah, man, and keep it moving because I had this vision for myself. Like, that's why still to this day, the team of people that are involved with the franchise tag are those selected few that never casted their insecurities. Because those people are also, people with a vision for themselves. So they understood the vision. They didn't have to believe by, what I was doing or thinking that everything I was going to do or what I'm doing is all going to work. But they believe that somebody has a vision. I also have a vision. So, I'm going to shine, good light on it because I see how things could happen.
And that's great. And that's great for our listeners to hear, at least because a lot of our listeners either have their own business already or are looking to start one. And they may have a lot of negative feedback from friends, family, colleagues, people around them. And yeah, a lot of the times people are concerned about you and have valid concerns that should be brought up to you. And that's very, very healthy to listen to that. But it's also very unhealthy to let that guide everything that you do. Right. So you should definitely hear what people have to say because there may be some good advice you could take away from it. But it also shouldn't limit you in the things that you want to do because, if you would listen to a lot of that negativity or a lot of those people, you wouldn't be working with Ace right now, or your Rihanna wouldn't have been wearing your hat, or Dave East, or any of the people that you mentioned. All of these, look how many things you impacted just with something that you created yourself because you weren't afraid to do it. And that's exactly what we talk about here at the Hustle Inspire Hustle podcast is don't be afraid to do something you fully believe in because that's the sign that life is giving you that you have what it takes to do it. If you fully believe in it and you found something that you actually love to do, there should be nothing that keeps you back from growing in it because the money's not going to be an issue. Once you become the best at that thing that you love, you will not have to look for money. Money's going to look for you. And that's something that people don't realize. They think that they're always going to have to go and chase the check, but they don't realize that there's a scenario in which the check chases you. Like in my specific perspective, I turned down a lot of clients for advertising strategies and they want me to create their strategies or overlook their campaigns because it's just their values and the things that they have going on don't align with what I'm doing. Therefore, the checks are chasing me, but I could choose to turn them away and say, no, this is not for me. And everybody has the opportunity to get to that point, but they just have to become the best at what they're doing. And you've perfected. And I'm sure you're a work in progress and there's a lot of things that you need to work on, but you've pretty much been working on perfecting your craft from growing the business to working in the entertainment industry, pretty much managing a lot of the things that Ace has going on. And I'm sure you've been great insight and great growth for his internal team because, when we talk about celebrities or public figures, we see their accomplishments, but we don't realize that a majority of their accomplishments are due to the hard work and organization and structure that their internal team puts together in order for them to catapult to the next level. So it's really cool that you've been able to do that. And it's really, really cool that Ace and everybody in the camp supports you and your vision because it just goes to show that everybody's going to grow together, which is the purpose of our message. Surround yourself with people who uplift you because hustle inspires hustle. So, Robby, tell me, where could the listeners find you on social media? Where can they connect with you? Where can they see your brand? Where can they see things that are coming up? That way they could stay connected.
You can follow me on Instagram platform, Robby.Alonso, Alonso. You can follow also the brand at the franchise tag on Instagram. On Facebook, it is at franchise tag FTL. We have many store locations carrying our products, online, website. We've just completed a partnership deal with Karma Loop. So that's an exclusive for the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast. Karma Loop will now be carrying the franchise tag. I'm always, networking out in Miami and meeting people and always going to new events and new venues and just trying to see the up and coming. I'm all for the people that are trying. I'm all for, everybody who's trying to make it and everybody who's already a part of this culture, and got a lot of things in the works, and I appreciate Hustle Inspires Hustle. I appreciate you, Alex. It's always dope connecting and working with you and creating a dope path in life for our dreams to exist.
Bro, you've been supporting our movement since the beginning, since nobody knew shit about us. And now, fast forward to today, we have a global event platform. We have some of the top podcasters and entrepreneurs in the world on our podcast. We have a merchandise line. We have so many things going on. We have almost 70 million views on Instagram stories with our name and all of our GIFs. We have so many incredible and exciting things going on that didn't even exist. I remember you putting our wallpapers on your phone and showing us love and showing us support when we were just starting this shit out. And it just goes to show, we were just talking about it. You believed in Franchise Tag, you blew it up, people supported you, and they saw the vision. You saw the vision in what we were doing, and now we're doing all these amazing things, and we're still supporting each other. So for the people that are listening right now, don't be afraid to support other people's businesses. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Look at Robby and I's specific scenario. We've known each other for a minute now. We met through a lot of mutual friends. We've been supporting each other's businesses for a while, and we continue doing it. And that's the essence of what Hustle Inspires Hustle is. So thank you so much, guys. Make sure you tune into next week's episode. Thank you so much for your time. All right, let's recap what we learned so far. We definitely got to know that we got to step out of our comfort zone. You're only going to succeed when you're uncomfortable. If you're switching from a 9-to-5 or starting your own brand, don't be afraid of doing something you fully believe in. Also, make sure you're not chasing that check. Look into people's values, and if they don't mix with yours, be okay with saying no. You're going to get more opportunities. Don't forget to check out honeybook.com to automate your business processes so you could get more clients and get paid faster. Get 50% off when you use code ALEX, ALEX, at checkout. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to tune in. I'd really appreciate it if you guys could share with someone, review, or even subscribe to the podcast. If you want to connect with me, follow me on Instagram at Hustle Inspires Hustle. Or you could follow me on my personal, Alex Quin, with one N. This is the Hustle Inspires Hustle podcast with Alex Quin.